Hi Sagittarius, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your July 2026 tarot reading. Thank you to those of you who have liked, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's a 12 card spread with each card representing a different house of the zodiac. Started with your signs, Sagittarius as the first house, all the way through to Scorpio representing the 12th. When we get through that, we'll actually pull an oracle card as well for some additional insight. As far as the decks being used this month, for the main tarot deck, we have the Guardian of the Night Tarot, and for the Oracle deck, we'll be using the Spirit Animal Oracle. We're actually going to start the reading off by rolling some astrology dice to get an idea of where your folks should be as far as that goes. Alright, so we have 6th house. So for you guys, 6th house energy is Taurus. And astrologically speaking, we did have Chiron just move into that sign, but in general, 6th house points to health, work, and daily routines. All right, we have Leo. So for you guys, Leo is actually your 9th house of philosophy, higher learning, and foreign affairs. And of course, on the 22nd of July, we'll actually have the sun move into Leo. Other than that, we currently have Venus in Leo, although we'll be moving to Virgo on the 9th of July. But yeah, so there's definitely some Leo energy going on there. And we have the sun. So, like I mentioned, of course, later in the month, the sun will be moving into Leo, which is your 9th house. But currently, it's actually in Cancer, which is your 8th house. And 8th house in general points to death, rebirth, intimacy, and investments. So we'll keep all that in mind as we go through the main spread. So for the first house, which points to personality, self-awareness, and appearance, we have the Knight of Cups. So yes, this could just be saying that you could be coming across more soft-spoken this month, maybe speaking with almost like a more romantic twist to the way you're communicating this month. But I feel like this is ultimately saying that there's a bit of a soft edge to your approach to things this month, but in a positive way. All right, and for your second house energy, which points primarily to possession, self-worth, and finances, we have the Knight of Wands. So this is actually a card that represents your energy, Sagittarius, and to see this in the second house could just be saying that you're being a bit more bold and taking the initiative when it comes to working on your finances, right? So maybe you're just being more proactive with that approach in general, maybe even thinking of new creative ways that you can improve your finances, right? But yeah, either way, I feel like this is saying you're also going to be feeling a little bit more like you're in your comfort zone in that area of life this month as well. All right, so for your third house, which points primarily to communication, short journeys, and siblings, we have the Ace of Pentacles. So yeah, seeing this here could just be saying that maybe you'll have a creative idea come to you as far as how you could improve your finances, right? We were just talking about that Knight of Wands energy, taking the initiative, and in doing so, it looks like this is saying you might actually have a good idea for an opportunity, or possibly just because you're being so proactive, one might come to you this month. All right, so for your fourth house energy, which points to home roots and family, we have the Page of Pentacles. So yeah, so this could just be saying that you might actually have a decent amount of progress already under your belt, but at the same time you might feel like you're not quite where you want to be just yet. And for some of you, this could also just be saying that maybe you won't outwardly project that you're not where you want to be yet, right? You might be outwardly presenting more confidence and giving people the energy that you already are where you want to be, that you're not necessarily trying to elevate any further, but like this is saying beneath the surface, you do think about how you'd like to be further ahead at this point. All right, for your fifth house energy, we have the Seven of Pentacles. So fifth house points to romance, creativity, and children. And for some of you, this could be tied to what we were talking about with the fourth house energy, just as far as let's say if there was some creative project you've been working on, maybe you feel like it hasn't paid off quite the way you thought it would have, right? So you might feel like the amount of energy and resources you're pouring into the project might not be a good return on investment at this time. So you could just be thinking about abandoning the idea altogether. For some of you, this could also just be saying that maybe that's a similar feeling within your romantic lives too, right? Maybe if there's a connection that you've been moving on a path with, but now you feel like, I'm not sure this could really go any further. That could be something that you're weighing the pros and cons of this month too. All right, so for your sixth house energy, which also came up with the dice, we have the Four of Wands. So yeah, so Aries energy here, and to see this come up in your sixth house of health, work, daily routines definitely seems to be a positive there. Um, so yeah, I feel like this is just saying that you're going to be feeling a lot more comfortable and feeling like there's room for growth and expansion in that area of life this month. All right. And for your seventh house energy, which points to partnerships, contracts, and relationships, we have the World. So yeah, this is definitely a good indicator to see that there's been a lot of growth for you guys recently, right? Maybe you've learned some karmic lessons. Maybe they weren't necessarily easy to learn in the moment, but now it seems like there is some level of mastery around those. So I could just be saying that now, as you move forward into connections, there's a lot of potential within them. So for some of you, maybe you're already in a partnership, whether it be romantic or financial, you name it. For you, just be saying that now, after the lessons you've gone through, you could trust yourself to fully show up in a great way within those dynamics as well. All right, so for your eighth house energy, which technically came up with the dice as far as like we said, the sun will be in the eighth house for the first few weeks of July, but we have the Two of Cups. So yeah, so this could definitely just be saying that you might have a desire to connect with someone else, right? Or maybe that's where that Knight of Cups approach we see for you guys is coming from this month. But yeah, could just be saying that you want to put yourselves out there in some way. Feel like you have a meeting of the minds with someone as well, though, right? So I feel like you're not. I feel like you're still going to be fairly discerning with who you would like to pursue, but ultimately, if you feel like you have a good match, you're going to want to move forward with it. All right. So for your ninth house energy, we have the Lovers. So this is actually the major arcana card for Gemini, which is your opposite sign. So to see this come up here in the ninth house could just be saying that maybe for some of you this could be a bit of a long distance connection as well. But either way, if it's not necessarily pointing to a true distance thing, it could just be saying that, going back to what I was saying with the Two of Cups, maybe you'll find like there's a meeting of the minds to an extent, right? You might even meet this person in like a higher learning setting, right? Whatever the case may be. But looks like it's going to be someone where you feel like you match as far as philosophies, just your general approach to looking at the world. All right, so for your 10th house energy, which points primarily to career and social status, we have the Eight of Cups. So this is an interesting energy to see here, just because it is an energy typically of walking away, and you guys have had the South Node moving through your house of career and social status, and on the 26th of July, it'll actually be moving out of Virgo and into Leo. So yeah, so for some of you, just be saying that maybe as that transit's wrapping up, you're finally ready to release something as far as a career path, right? So for some of you, that could just be saying, because maybe you have another opportunity that just seems more positive for you. We talked about how you're really seemingly taking the initiative when it comes to seeking things out too. So it could just be one of those things where you're just in a mood to look for a different opportunity at this time. All right. And then the 11th house energy, which points to friendships, groups, hopes, and wishes, we have the Six of Cups. So yeah, so this could just be saying that maybe you'll be reconnecting with people from your past this month, or even just concepts, right? Or the groups that you deal with might feel like you've known them for a long time, right? So it could just be one of those things, but I feel like for the majority of you, it's more of the first thing. And to see this here, this definitely looks like a good indicator as well that, you know, you're just going to feel more in tune with what brought you joy in the past, too. So that's definitely a positive as far as that goes. All right. And for your 12th house energy, which in general points to spirituality, blind spots, and mental health, we have the Four of Swords. So yeah, this is definitely a good thing to see come up in the 12th house as well, because, if there is some healing that you've needed to do for a while, and for whatever reason you're putting it off, it could just be saying that this month you're finally truly able to put it behind you. And then maybe that could be why we see the World card popping up in the 7th house, too. All right, and bottom of the deck we have the Hermit. So this is actually a major arcana card for Virgo. So yeah, so again, like I said, it looks like with that Knight of Wands energy, maybe you're getting out and exploring a little bit more, right? Taking more of the initiatives to seek something out. We see the Four of Wands in the 6th house and then the Eight of Cups in the 10th. So yeah, so this could be saying that, maybe you guys are withdrawing a bit to figure out what your next move would be when it comes to your career. All right, so last thing we'll do here is actually pull an oracle card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a few shuffles, then we'll cut the deck and pull a card. All right, take this card here. Let me get this out of the way, and we'll see what you got. All right, we have Wasp Spirit. It says, sometimes life stings. So, interesting, right? Because maybe this is saying that there was a disappointment that you've had to let go, but we'll see what it mentions in the book. All right, the oracle message says, not all that spirit creates in nature is easy to love, but when we look through the eyes of Wasp Spirit, we recognize that even though sometimes life stings, there is a purpose for pain, just as there is a purpose for wasp in the natural world. Wasps keep insect populations down, supporting the growth of plants. So too, the sting of life may hurt, and you may feel deeply disappointed or even resentful that wasp spirit has shown up, but you will soon come to see that spirit has something wonderful in store for you. You may well come to realize that being stung led to something far better than you had envisioned for yourself. Perhaps behind the scenes, Wasp's spirit was conspiring with Spirit to ensure that you could grow something of value to you. Spirit has a plan, and Wasp Spirit plays a part. Have you ever looked back and been glad your prayers weren't answered because the path you took led to something far better? Wasp Spirit is a reminder to reflect on those times, for today's thing may hurt, but something better awaits you. So yeah, definitely an interesting message there, because seeing that Four of Swords in the 12th house position shows that there could be something that you are ultimately healing from. I don't see any true indicators of immediate disappointment, although maybe that's what the Eight of Cups is about, right? Where, like we said, maybe you're walking away from a career path, and maybe because you see an opportunity that's better, where you feel like there's just a better fit overall. So that's the case, right? So yeah, it could just be one of those things where maybe you have to make peace with, for example, seeing the Seven of Pentacles here, right? Maybe it's something you put 7 years of your life toward, right? And now you feel like you're hitting the reset button in some way. But like it says, overall, it seems like it'll be something better than you expect in the long run as well. So if that's the case, hopefully that resonated with you guys, and we'll wrap up there. All right, bye.